Hello there, welcome back. Over the next couple of videos we're going to be looking at breadcrumbs, okay? But before we start, actually, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Fionn Ross from the Insider Club. He made a couple of interesting observations and he noticed that if you remember back in one of the videos, I think it was video, might have been 52 or something like that, you'll remember that the alt tags were not working here. Do you remember that? And I was hovering and I thought, what on earth's going on? Well, he pointed out that actually, I'll go back here, actually alt tags apparently don't work on Google Chrome and a bunch of other browsers. I had no idea. Can you believe it? And I looked that up and sure enough it's true. So let me just go to store categories /view/view.php, and where we have this alt equals item title, I'll change that to title equals item title and we'll hit refresh, and now suddenly the hover text works. So thanks very much for that tip. And you know, he didn't even stop there. There was another thing that he noticed. If you click on items here, we've got a double slash going on up here. Can you see that? And that's not too cool. So let's just quickly fix that. And it's round about here. Okay, so that's that, and that should be just fine when you go now, okay? So thanks very much for those tips, Fionn Ross. I do appreciate you guys keeping me in the right with this stuff. Thank you very much indeed. So, let's talk about breadcrumbs. Now, unfortunately, Codeigniter does not have any breadcrumbs stuff going on, okay? However, Bootstrap does. If we go to the components page on the Bootstrap site, you'll find that there's a thing here for breadcrumbs and it gives us some nice code, okay? Now we can copy this nice code from the Bootstrap site. We can open up, let's say store items for example, and we'll go to that view page on store items, and I'm just going to paste in the fabulous Bootstrap code, and there you go, okay? Now, I'm not 100% happy with that. I think I'd like to bring it down a little bit, so I'm going to copy this row here. That worked out quite well last time, and I'll bring these closing tags here, maybe paste in, and I'll indent things, and we'll see how this looks. Okay, oh gee, now look, you can see the thing's too short and it's too far down, so we'll change this 4 to a 12, and we'll change this 24 to a 12, okay? So let's refresh. Okay, so that looks kind of good, looks nice, and that is the vibe. It's exactly the same as the pagination business. All I'm doing is just getting the thing looking nice, and now that I know what we're aiming for here, well, now I can just comment this out, and I know later on that this is the prize, this is what we want happening, but of course, in a dynamic kind of a way. Now, I'm going to take a little time out at this point, if that's okay. It's going to be a little PHP timeout, and I'd like you to forget about the online shop for a wee moment, and I'd like you to even forget about Codeigniter. We're going to do some PHP, and I'd like to look at a little bit of PHP logic, if you can handle the vibe, okay? So let's open up store categories, right? And I want you to make up a function. Do we have one? We don't have one called test, right? Cool. Let's make up a little function called test, okay? There's something I just want to show you folks, right? So follow along, here we go. I'm going to make up a thing called users, and inside here I'll say something like Han equals, and we'll say 42. Let's do another one. We'll say Luke equals 32. Let's have users, I don't know, something like Yoda equals 900. Let's have users Chewie equals, he was 200. And I don't want like, yes, I want something beyond Y, so I'll make up a user called Zebedee. Just somebody, so that, you know, we have someone with the letter Z and it's after Yoda, right? So we'll make Zebedee 12, okay? And the vibe is that this is a bunch of users and that's their ages, okay? That's how old they are. Can you handle the vibe? So now I have a question, okay? And the question is, who is the oldest, okay? Who's the oldest? Now let's head on over to store categories /test, and the question is being asked, who is the oldest? Now a couple of nights ago I had a look on Stack Overflow and on Google and all of that stuff, and to my surprise I could not find any built-in PHP thing that does this. Can you believe that? I couldn't find anything at all. But what I could find was lots of kind of makeshift solutions, you know, people saying, well, here's how you can do that, here's how, you know, maybe this will work, maybe that'll work. So let's see if we can come up with a little makeshift function that's going to answer this question, who is the oldest, right? So I'll say function get oldest user, right? And it's going to accept an array called users. As a matter of fact, let's call it target array, okay, so that we can use this for other things. And what I'll do is to figure out who the oldest user is. Well, let's have a think about this. What we're essentially saying is, or we're asking is, listen, as far as this array goes, right, this array is made up of these pairs of keys and values. To find the oldest user, we're basically saying, hey, by the way, PHP, which key happens to be paired with the highest value? That's the vibe, okay? So to try and figure that out, there's loads of ways of doing this, but we could do something like for each target array, whoopsie-daisy, for each target array as key is paired with value, and we could say, right, we're looping through it, right, and we could say if not is set. Now we're trying to find the key with the highest value, so I'll say something like key with highest value, okay? If that's not set, then the key with the highest value must be this key, right? We're going to the key that we're on. Does that make sense? Now otherwise we have got one of these keys with highest values, so now I'm going to do a little else if, and I'm going to say, I'll write it in plain English, right? I'll say if if this value is greater than the value that belongs to the key with the highest value, then in that case the key with the highest value also equals this key. Okay, does that make sense? Now the only bit we've got to figure out here is this, and how do we turn this into plain PHP code? So let's have a think about this. Let's have a think about this. The value that belongs to the key with the highest value, well, that's going to be target array, and then it's going to be key with highest value, okay? And then this value, if this value, so that's going to be if value is greater than that thing there, then the key with the highest value equals key. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to return this, and that's the vibe. I'm going to return the key with the highest value. Now look, I know that the PHP police are out there. They're looking at the screen and they're screaming at the screen and saying, hey man, you could have done this with, you know, half a line of code or something. That's fine. Who cares? Go ahead, do that. Who knows? Maybe PHP has got something there. I don't know, a sort or something. Who knows? Go ahead, be my guest. The point is, I've built a little function that's going to try and get the oldest user. So I'm now going to say oldest user equals this, get oldest user, and I'm going to pass in that users array. So if I just say echo oldest user and then hit refresh, who is the oldest is Yoda. So this works, and thank you very much indeed. Now, what on earth does this have to do with breadcrumbs and stuff? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see. I'd like you to just keep a hold of this stuff. Keep it handy, because this is going to come in useful later on, okay? And thank you very much. End of intermission. So, let's go back to this breadcrumbs business. If we go to the, let's say this page here, and we'll try and build some breadcrumbs here, okay? Now, some of you folks might be thinking, okay, you know, he's going to make a module that deals with breadcrumbs, okay? And actually, I'm not going to bother, because these breadcrumbs are kind of simple, and I don't think there's any need for another module. So I'm going to put this stuff inside the templates module. Can you handle the vibe? And what I'm going to do is right on this view file here, I'm just going to head right on in here, and I'm going to say echo modules run, and it will be templates / draw breadcrumbs, okay? That's the vibe. So if we open up our templates module, like so, and we jump in, let me just see, we'll go up here, and we'll just say draw breadcrumbs. Well, we can just do something like, well, let me just have a think here. We'll load up a view file, right? We'll do this properly. And we'll call this view file something like breadcrumbs, how about public bootstrap, okay? Because that's the template that we're on here, right? So it's going to load up breadcrumbs public bootstrap. This is the vibe. Now I'm going to just make that view folder in here, okay? And we'll make a new file, and it's called breadcrumbs public bootstrap.php, okay? And it looks like that. I'm just going to save that, and I'm going to paste in the nice, fabulous breadcrumbs code that we got earlier on, okay? So I'm now going to just head on over, paste in, we'll get rid of these little comment things, and that's the vibe, okay? So I'm going to save that and refresh the screen. So now we have some nice breadcrumbs working. Yes, thank you very much indeed. These particular breadcrumbs are going to be tailor-made for the public bootstrap template. You can see that the file is called breadcrumbs public bootstrap, and they are all ready to go. In the next video, I'm going to make these breadcrumbs dynamic, and we're going to get them actually doing something meaningful, okay? But hopefully that's us out of the starting blocks. I'll see you in the next video.